Good morning, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace dropping in on you. Know that it's been a few days. I ran into a medical situation that I had to deal with. Definitely gave me some time to think, to focus, and to reflect. Still not able to speak as clearly and comfortably as I would like. Hopefully that will improve over the next couple of days, but I did not want to sit here and let this teaching moment pass. You see, it's easy when everything is flowing your way, when everything is running smoothly. It's easy to sit there and talk about faith. It's easy to sit there and talk about winning. It's easy to sit there and talk about overcoming and everything. Yeah, Erica, it's got a lot going on. I didn't share it with a lot of people, just those within the circle, but, it's been a rough weekend. So I'm just getting back in the saddle. Had a pretty big scare, but everything happens for a reason. And so I'm sitting here and I'm looking at everything in front of me. I'm looking at what I've just went through, the fact that I'm still recovering from it, and everything that, I've committed myself to, everything that's expected of me, and I'm looking at it. And it just popped in my head, how many people understand the importance of trusting in darkness? And, I went back to probably the worst time in my life. And I said, okay, Rick, you got through that. You'll get through this. And again, you guys are going to have to forgive me for my diction. But I have a swollen tongue. I'm not going to really get into it. But I had a rough one. I spent some time in the hospital this weekend. Anyway, I'm sitting there and I'm going, okay, I still have some things that, I have to get done. I still have some people who are dependent on me. I still have responsibilities. And I'm sitting here and I'm going, okay, pull yourself together. And I started to think, how many people are out there that go through moments? See, like I said, it's easy when everything's lining up and when you got A, B, C, and D, and you're looking, okay, here, and you got all these options. What happens when you land flat on your back? What happens when you experience a major setback? What happens when things are not as you anticipated or expected? What happens in the darkness? And I remember, man, it's been a while now, time flies, but I remember in 2012, 2011, 2012, going through the worst time in my life. And luckily I had some people around me who were bunions of faith. And when I say that, I don't necessarily mean religious people. I mean people who really truly have this relationship with God. Because I've seen a lot of religious people, they can say the right things, but the energy isn't there. The hope isn't there. The power isn't there. And so, but somebody told me during that time, I'm in this dark place and the darkness is so thick that I can't see. And at that time I was literally afraid. The biggest fear I had was that I was going to wake up one morning and not know who I was. I thought I was going to literally lose my mind. That's how intense it was. And I kept talking about the darkness, and this person told me, hey, Solomon said God dwells in the darkness, even the gross darkness. And then I kind of fell back to when I buried my stepmother, who I love dearly. And I remembered my cousin, her nephew, preached a sermon from the book of Job. And this isn't a religious rant. This is about faith. This is about practical faith. This is about trusting God. And the title of the sermon was, Can God Trust You with Trouble? And what I realized while I was going through that is that most people want the promise without the process. They want to experience the promise, but they don't want to endure the process. And see, there can be no promise without there first being a process. There's got to be some times in which you have to trust. There has to be some times in which you refuse to fold. There has to be some times when everything around you looks dreary and dark, but you still believe and you still trust. And all I could think is, while my family needs me, I'm up here at this hospital. And, you know, I started to think, I think we do one another a disservice when we sit up and we only talk about the breakthroughs. We only talk about the wins. We only talk about the heights of experience. And we don't share with people that there is a story that goes along with all the glory that they're experiencing. There is some times in which perseverance is required. There's some time when intestinal and spiritual fortitude is required. There's some time when it just doesn't look right, doesn't feel right, not going right, and you still have to believe. Matter of fact, that's faith. If it always looks a certain way and works a certain way, if it doesn't require faith for that, faith is when you can't see it. Faith is when it doesn't seem to be lined up, but deep down inside you know it. Faith is when you can speak it as if it were, even when it doesn't look like it. And I'm sitting here this morning, I'm like, Rick, you can't talk. I can't afford not to. You know, I can't afford not to. Somebody out there is facing something far more trying, for the lack of a better term. Somebody's facing some real trying situations and circumstances, and maybe it's children, maybe it's in your marriage, maybe it's on your job, maybe it's in this business you've been trying to get off the ground, maybe it's in your health. This is what I'm going to tell you. Sometimes you have to simplify the equation, or it becomes unsolvable. It becomes too much. And something I learned a long time ago: if I'm still breathing, I'm still in the fight. If God woke me up this morning, I posted it, something similar to this. If I woke up this morning, God's not done. And I'm not here to suffer. Suffering comes from a number of different things. There's opposition by way of those who I consider enemies. There's poor decisions by way of me. That's just life. There's some things you got to go through in order to make it. And I've got to check out. But I just want to encourage you and give you a sense of hope. And I got to go wake up a kid. I just thought about that. But I'm going to get off of here. I hope that what I shared in this brief moment is going to encourage you. And in that note, I'm going to get off, and I'll try to come back today. Like I said, it's difficult talking right now, but I just really needed to share that with you. If you woke up this morning, God's not through with you. On that note, I'm out.